In this video, I'm going to show you how to change the calibration values of a torque transducer or load cell, torque tension, or ITAC transducer. All of our transducers have AutoID, which is a memory inside them to save the calibration value for future use. So what I have here is a torque transducer connected to channel 1 of the MC950. So through this channel, we can read and write the auto ID of this transducer. Instead of this torque transducer, it could be any of the other transducers that we just talked about. Let's start with the program. Make sure the program is version 10.35 or higher. It has some features that takes advantage of the memory change of the auto ID. So start this. We calibrate normally. Read transducer is reading ID, so this ID is 206 Newton meter full scale and 203.27 calibration value. So we transfer this and we now try to calibrate it. Okay, at this point it's reading a 0 torque value. So suppose we going to apply some load to this and see if there's any discrepancy between our reading and other instruments reading. Let's apply some load. Okay, we apply in our instrument we're reading 204 Newton meter, but in here it's showing 202.03 Newton meter. So in order to change this value to read 204 Newton meter, we have to do this. Go to change. Okay, and in here enter the value that you think it's correct, 204 from your other instrument. So what happens when we click on change calibration value? It changes this calibration value that's going to be entered in that previous window. So we say okay, we're done, and now take the load off here. Okay. Back to beginning. So now you see that we change the value from 203 to 205. This is the new calibration value. So how can we save this to the memory? Let's try to do this and save it into memory. Okay, we go into the read sensor. So what it shows you the old value, and these are the old values. So the new value that it's a note here for you to see. You could have written down this number previously too, but we brought it here. Always make sure this number is correct. This number, if you keep changing transducer, it could be a different number, but make sure this is the same number as you saw before. So it's 205. So what we need to do, change this value to 205.2759. And if you like, you can change the full scale value maybe a little higher, let's say 208. So it gives you some room for additional reading. So if you like, you can change the date, and we are set to, at this point, nothing is written to the memory. In order to write to the memory, you have to click on Auto ID. So it will ask for the password. Click OK. So as you see, it's writing the ID to EEPROM and reads it back and reads it correctly, 205 and 208. That's the number it's going to use now for its reading. So we can transfer it back to the same number as we saw before, and now we can go into calibration. So go calibration. Calibrate, and we apply the same load as before. So we're reading 204. Before we were reading 202, now we're reading 204. So these two are matching. So that's a method to change the auto ID using another instrument's number to match our two systems together. This concludes our video for changing of auto ID.